Hey, and welcome to the Postapocalyptic Garage.
Today we want to show you a variety of our fixed blade knives.
So let's start with the only non-fixed blade knife, our EDC Leatherman Wave. Multiple tools, 2 blades. My next EDC is the Mahoney Tactical Hunting Knife. An awesome knife, heavy weighted, feels good in the hand. The next one is the Glock field knife in the Austrian Army version. You can use this knife for different tasks, to make some firewood, for fighting, whatever. There is also a possibility to put it on your gun as a bayonet. So the next one is the Böker Fox Magnum. Really a long knife, long blade, heavy weight, but feels good in the hand. Here we have an old, traditional, improved Scandinavian style knife, typical hunting knife. The next one is the Razor Edge swing blade. The interesting thing at this knife is you have 2 blades, one for skinning and one for gutting. It's one of my favorite knives when it comes to hunting.
When it comes to the material of the blade, every knife has its pros and cons. This one here, for example, is made out of D2 steel, so it's very good in holding its edge, but it's also very hard, maybe even too hard. So it can chip very easily when you try to pry something open, or when you cut into the wood and turn it from left to right. The blade can chip very easily, and so a really hard blade is not always the best option. On the completely opposite side of the spectrum there is the Glock field knife, in this case the Austrian Army version. It's a very soft steel. You can pry something open, you can bend it almost 90 degrees, you can hammer it back, and it's very soft, but it's very poor in holding its edge, and it gets dull very easily. In my opinion, this knife is much more related to a pry bar than to a cutting tool. You may remember the form of the Ed Mahoney Tactical Hunter from the Böker Magnum Urban King, most likely because it's basically the same knife, the same steel, only made by another company. This particular one is my everyday carry knife because I really love fixed blades. And it's made from 420 stainless, so it sits right between the very hard blades and the very soft blades, but it holds its edge really good. It's with 4mm, a really thick knife, a really hefty knife with a really comfortable grip, and so this one is, out of all of them, one of my favorites. The swing blade from OffTheGarage is a little bit of a unicorn when it comes to knife blade materials. It's made from 12C27 Sandvik steel, which is stainless, and it's a high carbon steel. But I'm really impressed with the performance of the knife, especially when cutting the thick hides from game. And even after many uses, it still cuts hair, it still cuts flesh. So a really good knife, perfect form, perfect size for hunting, and as well my favorite tool when it comes to this kind of applications. When it comes to carrying a knife, for sure everyone has his own preferences. For example, with a multi-tool like the Leatherman, most people prefer to wear it either on a clip
or old school in the original Leatherman case.
Early in this video I made a statement that I like relatively big fixed blade knives for everyday carry. So when going to a shopping center or when wearing pretty normal everyday clothes, you want to be able to conceal your knife so that not everyone thinks you're completely crazy or a wannabe kind of Rambo. For this reason I like to carry my knife in a horizontal position. And last but not least, there's the most recognizable and traditional way to carry long blades. Just hanging down from your belt.
In the modern world, knives are just used as a tool for bushcrafting, in outdoor scenarios and all that stuff. But in a self-defense scenario, a knife can even be superior to firearms, given the fact that you know how to use it.
So self-defense with a knife, or knife fighting in general, has to practice for many years to even get a remote hold of it. But today we'll show you a few basics how to use your knife effectively in a self-defense or combat scenario. Basically you have 2 styles of holding the knife, and you have 2 styles of attacking with the knife. When it comes to holding a knife in your hand, the first option will be the hammer grip. The second option will be the dagger grip. Both of them have their advantages, both of them have their downsides. The basic two actions which can be performed with basically every bladed weapon is stabbing, like this, where you use the point of the knife, and cutting, where you use the edge of the knife.
When it comes to a fight, be sure that you really have the correct body position. If you're right-handed, your left foot is in the forward position, your knees are slightly bended, your left hand is in a defensive position to parry incoming blows from your opponent. A cut can be performed with the dagger grip or with the hammer grip, and always be sure to focus on the forearm of your opponent. One of the most effective cuts is a diagonal cut from above with the hammer grip, like this one. When cutting with the dagger grip, you can increase the force, but you decrease the range.
For stabbing, the hammer grip gives you a much greater variety of moves. You can stab from a lower position, you can stab from the side to attack the shoulder of your opponent, and you can even stab from above, but you will sacrifice a lot of force. Stabbing in a dagger position gives you the most amount of force you can put into your stab, but it limits your range and it really limits the variety of angles from which you can attack. One of the most essential things is not only to know how to attack with your knife, but also how to parry the blows of your opponent.
So we will show you right now some techniques how you can effectively block and counterattack your enemy. The most likely scenario in a modern day world is to defend yourself against the aggressor when he have a knife and you are barehanded.
The focus on this kind of scenario should be to disarm your opponent and to immobilize him.
And I think it's important to say that everybody can learn these techniques. It's important for women as well.
For sure, but it needs a whole lot of training and extensive practice to become really good at it. Most likely an untrained attacker will attack in a dagger position from above.
The most important thing is to get the focus on the weapon hand and get control over the weapon hand.
The same techniques apply when you get attacked from behind. En die aanslag aan de luchtkant voeten werden.
Even if you're not carrying a knife, there are many objects where you can use in a similar technique.
When stabbing with a knife, you basically rely on a really small point on which you concentrate a big amount of force. This stabbing action can be done with a big variety of everyday objects.
Basically everything, from a pen to a newspaper, a piece of wood, whatever you find.
When you defend yourself with such kind of improvised devices, you have to focus on the most vulnerable points on your opponent. Your favorite choice as a target will be everything from the head to the neck, especially the eyes, the nose, the lips and the front part of the neck. It can also be very effective on the side of the head, the armpits or the rib cage. When defending against a male opponent, attack his balls.
As you can see, I have here in my hands a newspaper. You can use it also as a self-defense tool. Just make a small roll. It's enough to defend yourself against a knife, for example. Folded edge is very hard. I think it's enough when you have it good in your hand in a fight. You can stab to the face, to the nose, to the eyes. I think your attacker will be going down for a short moment. You can use definitely anything what you get in your hands. Something like this one. This is a piece of an antler from a roebuck. See, it's long, it's thin, it's very, very sharp. So it's enough if you have something like this in your hand and you get attacked. Doesn't matter what it do. If you hit someone with this point of the antler, you are in the first position.
What we've done today was just a quick and really basic insight into the world of handling knives or knife fighting in general.
If you're really interested in such kind of techniques for knife fighting or knife defense, you have to learn a lot. Spend some hours on it. Check out. There are many videos on YouTube or wherever where you can basically learn some techniques, or just make a course. Maybe in your city is one. There are professional trainers, or you've been in a special forces unit. You know someone who is a knife fighter, whatever, so you can learn some techniques. I think it's a good possibility to defend yourself against the most attacks what can happen to you in the modern day world.
The most important thing is to physically train. Not only watching videos, not only reading books, you will learn nothing when just doing the things. They are good for learning some basics, but they will never replace actual training. Okay guys, that was it from Off the Garage for today.
Thanks for watching
and goodbye.
At last, a quick tip. The weapon with the most reach wins the fight.
Most likely, an untrained attacker will attack a position from above, like a total retard.
Genau. I don't want to fight. You are too stupid. Ich bin schon viert, dass er zugekommen ist. Entschuldigung, das ist echt. Ich habe schon aufgehört zum Leben, gar nicht mehr da. Ding, 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 ding. Weißt du, was immer so gerne ist, das immer? Fuck, wer ist bereit?